How many hundreds of years needs it to make a steward a king if the king returns not? Asked Boromir. Few years maybe in other places of less royalty. In Gondor, 10,000 years would not suffice, answered Denethor. Hey guys, welcome back to Genealogy and Chronology. Today we are back to Middle Earth and we will be discussing about the complete list of stewards of Gondor. I post 2 new videos each month concerning history, chronology and lore. Consider subscribing to my channel and also follow me on Reddit to find the high resolution copy of this poster. Please check out my other videos where I have discussed about the complete Elven and Edain genealogies, royal houses of Numenor, Arnor and Gondor, and also list of chieftains of Dunedain. Let's move on to today's topic. Gondor was a prosperous kingdom established by the sons of Elendil after the downfall of Numenor. It was ruled jointly by brothers Isildur and Anarion until the War of the Last Alliance. After the death of High King Elendil and King Anarion, Isildur ruled as High King for 2 years, but he would be slain in the disaster of Gladdenfield, along with his 3 elder sons. Thus it came to be that Valandil succeeded his father Isildur as the High King of Arnor, but he did not claim kingship of Gondor, which was passed on to Valandil's cousin Menelil, son of Anarion. Anarion's line would rule the southern kingdom of Gondor for the next 2000 years. There was no post of steward initially in Gondor. In fact, it was Romandical the first, 8th king of Gondor, who created the office of steward of Gondor to assist king in the matters of the state and also rule in the place of king when he was out for war. The post was usually given to men who were high in trust of king and also advanced in age. These men were nobles but were not from the royal house. We do not know the list of stewards from the time of inception of the office until 1630s of Third Age. At this time, Menardil was ruling as the 25th king of Gondor. He appointed his kinsman Húrin of Emin Arnen as the steward. This was the first time a person from the royal house was appointed as a steward in Gondor. Exact parentage is not known about Húrin, but he descended from the noble bloodline of Numenor through Elendil's younger son Anarion, possibly from a junior branch or a female line. Húrin would go on to establish the House of Húrin. All the kings from this point would choose stewards from the House of Húrin. It was in 1944 of Third Age that Pelendur was the steward to King Ondahur, 31st king of Gondor. After Pelendur, the stewardship became hereditary, passing from father to son. Ondahur and his sons would perish in the war against the united assaults from east. Arvidu, who was Isildur's sire and 15th king of Arthedain, would claim the kingship of Gondor, since he had married the daughter of King Ondahur. But steward Pelendur rejected this offer, and thus Earnil II from a junior branch was chosen as king. Earnil II was the penultimate king of Gondor, before the line of kings died out. His son Earnur was the last king of Gondor. Earnur rode to Minas Morgul to combat the Witch King when challenged for a duel. Earnur never returned and was never seen again. The steward to King Earnur was Mardil Woronwe. He served as a steward to King Earnil II and Earnur, and when Earnur never returned from Minas Morgul, he took up charge as the first ruling steward of Gondor. No claims for the kingship from any junior branches were considered to prevent any more kin strifes. Thus the stewardship passed from father to son, generation after generation, until 9th ruling steward, Dior, son of Barahir. The line was broken as Dior died childless, and thus the stewardship passed to Denethor I, son of Rian, who was daughter of Barahir. It was during the time of the 12th ruling steward of Gondor when the assaults of servants of Sauron began to increase. The steward was Cirion, and he called for aid from the old allies of Gondor, who now lived in the north. Cirion sent 6 riders from Gondor, but only one was successful to meet Eol the Young. Eol the Young, when received the call of aid, immediately rode out to aid Gondor with his men. Gondor survived this war, and thus Cirion gave the lands of Kelinordon to Eol and his people. These lands are later known as Rohan. The line of Denethor I continued until Ecthelion I, who was 17th ruling steward, and he died childless. The stewardship again passed on to a junior branch, and Eaglemoth became 18th ruling steward. Beren, 19th ruling steward, gave the kings of Orthanc to visit Saruman. As the power of Gondor dwindled and it became difficult to man an outpost so far away from Minas Tirith. As the shadow grew ever more in the east, the power of Gondor continued to dwindle, but the line of stewards was not broken again. The stewardship passed from father to son ever after. When Ecthelion II was ruling as the 25th ruling steward, Aragorn II entered into his service, but he kept his real identity hidden and was known to everyone as Thorongil. After steward Ecthelion II passed away, his son Denethor II became the penultimate ruling steward of Gondor. He was a masterful lord, high in knowledge, and held all power in his hand. He married to Finduilas, Lady of Dol Amroth, who also was of high Númenórean lineage. Finduilas bore Denethor two sons, Boromir and Faramir, but Denethor loved Boromir more than anything or anyone. Finduilas passed away in 2988 of Third Age, and Denethor became grim and sad. In these years, he also started looking into the Palantiri, one of the 7 seeing stones. He was also the only steward to do so. Not even King Eärnil II or Eärnur, the last kings of Gondor, dared to look into Palantiri. Sauron controlled with his power what Denethor should see and what not. Denethor sent Boromir in place of Faramir to Rivendell to find the meaning of the dreams that Faramir had been getting lately. Thus in 3018, Boromir joins the Fellowship of the Ring. After the fall of Gandalf in Moria, when the Fellowship arrives at Emin Moil, Boromir tries to take the ring from Frodo. Boromir dies the same day defending Merry and Pippin, so the Fellowship was broken. News soon reached Minas Tirith about the death of Boromir, and Denethor uses Palantiri evermore. When Faramir reaches Gondor and tells Denethor about meeting Frodo and also about the ring, Denethor is displeased. He sends Faramir back to defend the western Osgiliath. Faramir would be later saved just in the nick of the moment by Gandalf and his uncle Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth. Soon began the siege of Gondor. Denethor would try to kill himself and his son Faramir on the pyre, but Faramir is again saved by Gandalf. Denethor II ends his life and his stewardship. The rule of Minas Tirith falls to Gandalf briefly, and later the duty is given to Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth until Faramir is healed. After the War of the Ring is over, Faramir, the last ruling steward of Gondor, welcomes Aragorn II and proclaims him as the king of Gondor and gives up his stewardship. But Aragorn returns the rod of steward to Faramir and names him as steward to him. Faramir is also named as a prince of Ithilien and also lord of Emin Arnen, the ancestral lands of his forefathers. Faramir later marries Eowyn of the House of Eol. Because of his high lineage, Faramir lived for 120 years. Elberond succeeded his father as the second steward to King Elessar, and presumably Elberond's son Barahir may have also served as a steward to King Elessar, who passed away in the year 120 of Fourth Age. In case you are wondering how Aragorn and Faramir are related, they are 39th cousins removed by unknown generations. I hope you all like this video of the complete list of stewards of Gondor. Be sure to join me as I will be sharing the complete woven genealogy of Tolkien's work next month. All my posters are freely available on Reddit and Twitter. If you like my work, consider supporting me on Patreon. All Patreon members are eligible to receive watermark-free soft copies of my posters. Thank you.